Beloved Osho, Shohei, Subi's disciple, asked Subi, "What is the meaning of Bodhidharmas coming from the West?" Subi said, "I'll tell you later when nobody is around." Sometime later, Shohei said, "Now there is nobody. Please, Master, tell me the answer." Suibi, getting down from the Zen stool, took Shohei to the bamboo garden. Again Shohei asked, "Now there is nobody. Please, Master, tell me the answer." Suibi, pointing to the bamboos, said, "This bamboo is that long. That bamboo is that short."
Friends, first the questions from the sannyasis. The first question. The other day you spoke about Fritjof Capra. Can you speak about the movement of the transpersonal psychology, and in particular about the work and meditation of Ken Wilber, who is said to be the founder of the spectrum psychology? Why don't such people come here? Are they imprisoned in being too established? Is your vision and its practical consequences the problem for them? The first thing to be understood is that I am not dealing with psychology. Psychology remains attached to the mind. It is the science of the mind. And my whole work is how to take you out of the mind. So these people will take me as if I am their enemy. They are working out how the mind functions, whether it is personal or interpersonal. What are its conditionings and how those conditionings can be changed with new conditionings. Their whole work, whatever they call interpersonal psychology or spectrum psychology, remains confined to the mind. And my world, the world of Zen, is the world of no mind. We simply don't want to bother about all the rubbish that mind is carrying from centuries. If you get involved into it, you can go on digging, and you will find more bullshit coming out. It is better just to take a jump out of it. It is not you. It is the whole conditioning of mankind. Generation to generation, every mind concept has traveled to you. And it is becoming thicker and thicker every day. As time passes, you have a more thicker mind, and meditation becomes more difficult. These people are not concerned with meditation at all. Hence, there is no question of their being here. Secondly, they think they have found the answer. Obviously, a person who thinks he has found the answer will not go seeking for the truth anywhere, will remain confined into his own imagination. Mind cannot be anything more than images, thoughts, sentiments, moods. Mind is not your nature, but an imposition by the society on your purity. These people will feel at a loss here because whatever they have been doing, we are throwing out. And they have been collecting. They will get great stuff if they come just to collect. Every evening so much rubbish is thrown, they can collect and enjoy analyzing it. Not a single person exists in the world who is completely psychoanalyzed. Such is the depth of all past orientations. 10 years, 15 years, people have been in psychoanalysis. And they go on talking, new dreams start coming, new thoughts start coming. They go on and they go on. When they get fed up with the psychoanalyst, they change the psychoanalyst and the same story in another name. But even a psychoanalyst is not aware that there is much more to your reality than your small mind. Science remains confined to matter. Psychology remains confined to the mind. Meditation is an effort to penetrate beyond matter, physiology, beyond mind, psychology, and to find the original source of life and consciousness. The work here is totally different, not only different, but makes all their efforts, the so-called psychologists of different schools, meaningless. It is an exercise in futility. the second question. In his book, Tao Yoga, Mantak Chia describes the center of life energy as being just 2 inches inside the navel. Is this a contradiction to Zen, which says it is 2 inches below the navel? Or do they both mean the same? It cannot be discussed and concluded. In fact, those 2 inches are only average. When you breathe deeply, you touch the center and you can find whether it is 2 inches behind or 2 inches below. The person who has written Tao Yoga, Mantak Chia, does not seem to be an experienced person. When I say 2 inches below the navel, I am trying to take your consciousness as far deep as it can go. Those 2 inches are not something ultimate. Your center may be only 1.5 inch below the navel. Just as everybody's nose differs, there is no way of concluding which nose is the fundamental nose. Don't get into intellectual discussion. The navel you have, the consciousness you have, the path is clear. It is not far away. Just a little silence, peace, and witnessing, and you will know where it is. It is bound to be different in every person. It is possible Mantak Chia found it 2 inches behind the navel, but my experience is it is 2 inches below the navel. And it is better to accept the idea of 2 inches below, because if it is 2 inches behind, that will come in the way. It is always better to keep the goal a little farther away. If it is 2 inches behind, you will pass it. And everybody is going to find it a little different, just as individualities differ. Your other physical organs differ. There is no scientific way of saying where is the source, the only way is to find it. It is somewhere near your navel. Perhaps somebody may find it just behind the navel. But according to me and my experience of people, it is not behind, it is below 2 inches. Only then it can manage your sexual energy. Otherwise, it will be too far away. There will be no connection between your sexual machinery and your life energy. Your life energy has to reach from the sex center to the 7th center in the head. The whole golden path. So it is better hypothetically to make an effort of going 2 inches below. If you go 3 inches below, good and better. Somebody may find that Mantak Chia's idea is right, may be applicable to him. But talking in terms of average, 2 inches below the navel is the right source. You will find it somewhere close by, an inch before or an inch after. Don't be bothered about inches. Remember, your navel is the point, and around it somewhere is the source of your life energy. Because when you were born, you were connected with your navel, with your mother. Your mother's life energy was moving through the navel into you. There was no other connection. So one thing is certain, that your navel for 9 months has been the connection with existence, with your mother. Everything you were getting was through the navel. But it cannot be on the surface of the navel. It can only be deep inside. Everything that is so precious like life has to be in a very subtle way hiding. You can make a 2-inch wide circle around your navel. Behind, below, somewhere you will find it. Don't get fixed about inches. And you don't have any measurement inside. You cannot take your measuring tape, that how many inches deep or back is your life source. It is just a hypothesis to help you to enter in. You will find it. Go as deep as possible. Don't stop if you see a little path is still possible to go more. The experience is the question. Don't be mathematical. I am reminded by our question about a great mathematician, Herodotus. He was the first man to find the principle of average. It was a great discovery at that time. And he was so much overwhelmed with his discovery that one day when he has gone for a picnic with his wife and 7 kids, they came across a small river. The wife was a little worried, but Herodotus said, "Wait, I will take the average depth and the average size of our kids. It will take only 5 minutes." He took out his measuring tape, found out the average length of the child, and ran around into that small river. On few points, he measured it and told his wife, "Don't be worried. The average depth of the water cannot drown the average length of our kids. You come on." But somewhere the water was deeper and somewhere it was shallow. And some child was small and some child was bigger. Average does not work in actual situations. It is good for mathematical calculations. The wife was still worried, so she kept herself behind, and when she saw one child drowning, she called to Herodotus, who was going ahead, that, "Look, I was concerned from the very beginning. I don't understand your mathematics." And can you believe it? Herodotus did not go to save the child. The wife has to run. He ran back to the bank where on the sand he has made all the calculations to find out that the calculation must be wrong. The calculation was perfectly right. But existence does not follow your calculations. So when I say 2 inches, it is only an average hypothesis. And I want it to be below, because if it is behind, it will come in the way. But if it is not in the behind, you will never reach to the point. So I don't want to take any risk. You may get stuck 2 inches behind the navel, and just 2 inches below will be your center. You would have missed just only by 2 inches the ultimate experience. And there is no need to be worried about how many inches. You just gather your energy and go to the very depth you can. Don't leave any stone unturned. The third question is the drive towards creativity only another expression of our inability to sit quietly and do nothing? You will have to understand two kinds of creativity. One is exactly what you are saying. It is an escape from the uneasiness of not doing anything, just sitting silently, because the whole world is workaholic and the whole world goes on driving everybody nuts. Do this, do that, don't waste time. So your whole mind is programmed for work, for efficiency. Naturally, you cannot sit down silently. You have to do something. It can take the form of some kind of creation, music, poetry, sculpture. But this is not true creativity. The true creativity comes out of sitting silently. When you are so totally quiet that there is no thought, no wave in the ocean of your being, out of this silence comes a different kind of total creativity. The first I can call only composition. The second is authentic creativity. They look alike. Sometimes even the composer may do better than a man of creativity, but the composer will never be original. He will be always copying. Only the creator can be original, can break new doors into the mystery of existence. George Gurdjieff has gone deeper into this matter, and he has called the first subjective creativity. It is mind-oriented. And the other he has called the real objective creativity. Whatever names are given, that is not the question, but he knows the difference. that the people who created Taj Mahal were not simply architects. They were not simply technologically knowledgeable. The emperor who made the Taj Mahal has called the Sufis from all over the world not the architects, but the Sufi mystics. To give the idea of Taj Mahal. It was created in order to become an object of meditation. If you sit silently by Taj Mahal in a full moon night, you start becoming silent. The very form of the Taj Mahal creates a certain quality in you, just as it has been found about pyramids, that the very shape of the pyramid is life-preserving. It detracts everything life-negating. When in the very beginning of this century, the first pyramid was opened, they found a dead cat inside. They could not believe the pyramid is 3,000 years old. So the cat must have died 3,000 years before. Just by accident, she may have entered when they were closing it and could not get out of it. But the body of the cat was absolutely fresh, as if it has just died. No stink in 3,000 years. Then the scientists started looking at the shape of the pyramids. There must be in the very shape of the pyramids. And now they have made pyramids for meditators. A small aluminum pyramids, you sit inside and you suddenly find more alive. You suddenly find more silence. We are going to create new campuses around in the pyramid shape for the meditators, even for people who live inside a pyramid. Find it very rejuvenating. The scientists could not believe. They themselves found themselves that they are more alive inside the pyramid than they are outside. Something happens. Just the shape of the pyramid is the thing. Those pyramids were created by Egyptian mystics. By very ancient scriptures from a continent, Atlantis, that has drowned either by natural catastrophe or by man's stupidity. But in Alexandria, in Egypt, they have saved everything worthwhile from the last continent of Muria and Atlantis. The library of Alexandria was so big, perhaps the biggest library in the world. The Mohammedan Khalif Umar burnt it down. You can see the stupid logic. Holy Quran in one hand and a burning torch into another hand. Khalif Umar entered the library and asked the chief librarian that you have to answer a question, because on that question the very existence of your library will depend. Is there anything more in your library than it is in the Quran? The librarian saw the strategy. If he says there is more, then certainly it has to be destroyed. Because nothing more is needed than Quran. It is enough. If he says, and that's what he said, being a very intelligent person, knowing perfectly well there is so much in the library, more than the Quran, but he said that whatever is contained in the Quran in a condensed form is available in the library. It is the same. Although he tried by his answer to save the library, but he did not know the fanatic's mind. Umar said, if it is the same, then it is not needed. Quran is enough. Why bother with so many books? And the library was so vast that Umar burnt it. It took 6 months for the fire to destroy the library. It has all the maps of the pyramids and the reasoning why that particular shape is life rejuvenating. Pyramids can be called authentic creativity. But our so-called painters and our so-called musicians have no understanding of meditation. So it is just being busy without business. Just doing something because the society does not accept you sitting silently. From my very childhood, my uncles, my relatives have been telling to me that you will end up in nothing because you simply sit and do nothing. I said, that's exactly what I am searching for, to be nothing. They shrugged their shoulders. They could not understand what kind of a man is this who does not take an insult in their minds. To be nothing is humiliation. One has to be something. And I said to them, you cannot humiliate me. To be something is humiliating. When one can be nothing, so vast, so infinite, why one should be something? Something is a limitation. So if your creativity comes out of your silence, out of your Zen, out of your meditations, then it is authentic, original. If it comes only as an occupation, because you are feeling lost, there is nothing to do, a long holiday, so you start doing something, but that is not coming out of your silences. It is coming out of your crazy mind. It happened once, a painting of Picasso was sold in $1 million. The woman who purchased it wanted critics to inquire whether it is authentic, original, or a copy. One critic said that it is certainly original because I was present. He was a friend of Picasso. He said, I was present when he was painting this painting. So you can take it for granted without any doubt. It is original. But the woman was not satisfied. She went to Picasso himself and she told that it does not matter to me, I have purchased it. I simply want to know whether it is original. Picasso looked at the painting and he has a strange statement. And the critic was present. And the woman who was living with Picasso was present. Picasso said, this is not original. And the woman said, you have painted it in front of my eyes. And this critic was present also. How can you say such a thing that this is not original? He said, it is true that I have painted it, but it is not original. I have already painted the same painting before. Finding to do nothing, I repeatedly painted the same painting that is in the Museum of Paris you can go and see it is just a copy. It does not matter who makes the copy. I have made the copy. That does not make it original. A copy is a copy, whoever makes it. It has come out of my inability to sit silent. It is only a copy, but the first one is original. It came out of the silences of my being. I had no idea what I am doing. When I was painting this painting, I knew everything what I am doing. It is a mind product. The first one has arisen beyond the mind. So anything that arises from your silences has a beauty, a truthfulness, an authenticity. And that which arises out of the mind is only a carbon copy. Howsoever beautiful it may appear to the ignorant, it cannot be called a creative phenomenon. If you have been to Agra to see Taj Mahal, you will find on the other side of Yamuna, there is a foundation of another Taj Mahal. Just a foundation. The same emperor who has allowed the Sufi mystics to make the Taj Mahal thought that it is too costly to bring all these mystics from Persia and Arabia. And now that we have the model, it took 30 years for 1,000 artists to make Taj Mahal. He released them and he asked the architects available in New Delhi that now the Taj Mahal is ready, you can make the same on the other side of the bank. This Taj Mahal was going to be his wife's samadhi. It is from his wife's name that it has become Taj Mahal. Her name was Mumtaz Mahal. The other he was creating for himself. And the architect said, there is no problem. We can make exactly the same thing on the other side. And they suggested that it is made in white marble. It will be good. As a contrast, we make the other in black marble. They could not complete it because the emperor was imprisoned by his son, and the son was not interested at all. So it has remained only a foundation. But even if it was completed, it would not have been a creative act. It would have been only technologically copied from the original. And the mistake is immediately seen. They did not think of the whiteness and the communion with the full moon. The black marble has not that beauty in full moon. It cannot create a luminosity within you. It cannot wake you up. So even if they had completed it, it would not have been authentic and original. If you don't have to do anything, that is the greatest moment, just to be. Don't do anything. Be silent. Do only when things are necessary to be done. So much nonsense will be cut out, and you will have much more energy to explore the inner. The sutra. Beloved Osho Sohei, Suibi's disciple, asked Suibi, what is the meaning of Bodhidharmas coming from the West? It is a traditional question. Everybody knows the answer. But it has been asked to every master, and always a different answer has been given. The question has remained the same, but because the master is different, the disciple is different, the times have changed. No master ever repeats anybody. Everybody knows that Bodhidharma came to China to convey the message of Gautam Buddha. But this answer will not be given by any Zen master. This will be too superficial, too informative, too knowledgeable, but not existential. What is the meaning of Bodhidharma's coming? Suibi said, I will tell you later when nobody is around. Now Suibi is a very subtle master. He has already answered without answering it. He is saying, I will tell you when nobody is around. that includes the questioner, that includes Suibi himself. When nobody is around, I will answer it. And that nobodiness is the meaning of Gautam Buddha's essential teaching. But Suibi did not manage to satisfy Sohei. Sohei could not get to the point where Suibi was pointing. I will tell you later, when nobody is around. He misunderstood it. Just as you would have misunderstood him. Sometime later, Sohei said, now there is nobody. Please, Master, tell me the answer. Suibi, getting down from the Zen stool, took Sohei to the bamboo garden. Again Sohei asked, now nobody is there. Please, Master, tell me the answer. And his silence is every time giving him the answer. That you don't understand when you say nobody is there. You are there. I am there. When the questioner is not there and the answerer is not there, you will get the meaning. Why Bodhidharma came from India to China. Sohei goes on insisting. So finally, inside the bamboos, Suibi, pointing to the bamboos, said, this bamboo is that long and that bamboo is that soft. You will not see any logical connection. There is no logical connection. But there is something more fundamentally connected. What he is saying is, Bodhidharma came to teach suchness. This bamboo is long, so what? This bamboo is soft. But there is no problem. I have never heard these bamboos discussing that why you are long and why I am soft. Neither the soft feels inferior, nor the longer feels superior. They both are enjoying existence in their totality. So just to be without comparing, settle down in your own consciousness and you will know the answer that cannot be given from outside. Isa wrote, around the hearth, the smile that bids us welcome is also a farewell. He is saying the beginning is also the end. The meeting is also a departing. One has to understand this contradictoriness, this paradoxical nature of existence. The welcoming smile is also a farewell. In a very small haiku, he has expressed the very essence of non-comparative, non-relative existentialness, in which all contradictions dissolve, in which all paradoxes meet, where night is not against the day and death is not against life, where nobody is superior and nobody is inferior, where the beggar and the emperor are the same. This sameness, this suchness is the manifesto of Zen, a declaration of the beauty of your individuality, and at the same time a declaration of dispersing that individuality into the universal. The less you are, the more you are. If you are nothing at all, then you are everything. This is the manifesto of Zen. Manisha's question. Beloved Osho, Eric Fromm has written in an essay entitled Psychoanalysis and Zen Buddhism. I have proposed that if one carries Freud's principle of the transformation of unconsciousness into consciousness to its ultimate consequences, one approaches the concept of enlightenment. Would you comment? Manisha, in the first place, psychoanalysis has nothing to do with Zen. And in the second place, Zen has nothing to do with Buddhism. It has to do something with Buddha, but not with Buddhism. Not with the doctrine that has arisen around Buddha's words, the philosophy, the religion, the cult. Eric Fromm, himself being a man of psychoanalysis, looks at Zen from a particular point of view, and that is the wrong way of looking at Zen. Zen has to be entered directly, not as a Mohammedan, and not as a Hindu, and not as a psychoanalyst, and not as a communist. If you have already a framework, a pattern, then you will impose that pattern on Zen. And Zen is so innocent, just like a small child. You can make that small child a Hindu. You can make that small child a Mohammedan, or a Christian, or a Buddhist, or whatever you want. It is a question of writing on an empty paper. The child is utterly empty. available for you to write whatever you want to write upon it. And people never look at their own conditioning. Eric Fromm is conditioned as a psychoanalyst. Hence, it seems him to be very right that if one carries Freud's principle of the transformation of consciousness into unconsciousness, into consciousness, to its ultimate consequences, one approaches the concept of enlightenment. Enlightenment is not a concept, it is an experience. And even Sigmund Freud is not enlightened. You will be surprised to know that he is not even psychoanalyzed. His disciples insisted again and again that why don't you go through psychoanalysis? Now we are ready and we can be the psychoanalyst and you be the patient. And he refused always. What was the fear? The same fears that are hidden in everybody. That one is hiding one's wounds, one's inferiority, one's fears. Sigmund Freud was very much afraid of death. So much that even the mention of the word death was enough to give him a fit. He will fall down from the chair. Will start foaming from the mouth. Now this man and enlightenment are as totally different as possible. He expelled one of his most deserving disciple, Carl Gustav Jung, who was supposed to succeed him. But because he mentioned 3 times death and gave that shaking fit to poor Sigmund Freud, he expelled Carl Gustav Jung. But you should not think that Carl Gustav Jung was not afraid of death. He wanted to go to Egypt at least 6 times. He booked his tickets and cancelled. 6th time he has even reached the airport and then freaked out. What was the fear? The fear was seeing the dead bodies, the mummies of the old kings and queens. He was interested to see them, but was also afraid that that will give the idea that you are not immortal, that you are also going to die. Great emperors could not save themselves. So the fear Psychoanalysis is a very ordinary thing. It is very helpful to people who are going a little abnormal. Ordinarily, everybody is normally crazy, but normally crazy, within bounds. Everybody knows what are his weak points. He hides, but sometimes in some stress situation, a person starts behaving beyond the normal boundaries. Psychoanalysis is helpful to bring the fellow back to the prison. He was getting out of it. But it is not that psychoanalysis taken to its ultimate consequences will be the same as enlightenment. Enlightenment is an effort to take you beyond the mind, and psychoanalysis is an effort to keep you within the mind. Their very processes are opposite. Erich Fromm is absolutely wrong. It is time for Sardar Gurudayal Singh. Put on the light. One afternoon, down in Podunk, Alabama, at the Abe Lincoln Elementary School, Miss Velcro, the black teacher, is giving an English lesson. Now, class, says Miss Velcro, today we are going to write some poetry. And for our theme, we are going to go back to our black roots in Africa. I want you to write a poem using that famous African town, Timbuktu. For the next 10 minutes, everybody writes, and at the end of the class, Miss Velcro says, "Okay, children, before we go home, would anyone like to read out their poem to the class?" Two boys, little black George and little black Washington, raised their hands enthusiastically. "Good," says Miss Velcro. "George, you read yours first." George stands up and says proudly, far away in a distant land, out across the burning sand, black men on camels marched 2 by 2 on their way to Timbuktu. The classroom cheers loudly, and then Miss Velcro says, "That way was very good, George. Now let us hear your poem, Washington." Little Washington jumps up, clears his throat, and says, me and my older brother Tim, a hunting we did go, we come upon 3 pretty girls, a sleeping in a row. Since there was 3 and we was 2, I bugged 1 and Tim bugged 2. Maureen O'Murphy receives this letter from her son Patrick at college in Dublin. Dear mother, send me 50 pounds immediately. Your loving son Patrick. P.S. I am so ashamed to have written to you this letter asking you for money that I sent my friend Michael to get it back, but the postman has already collected it. I can only hope that this letter gets lost in the post. His mother replies, dear son, don't worry, the letter was lost in the post. Your loving mother, Maureen. P.S. I would have enclosed 50 pounds, but the postman has already collected the letter. The Muggins family are gathered around the dinner table one evening when young Melvin Muggins gets up to make an announcement. I would like to take this opportunity, begins Melvin, to tell you all that I am going to marry Hilda Haggard, the girl across the street. What? Cries his mother. His father, Mr. Muggins, her family did not leave her any money. That's right, snaps Mrs. Muggins, and she has not saved a penny. She does not know anything about football, shouts little Monty Muggins. She is weird, cries little Mildred Muggins. I have never seen anyone with such frizzy hair. That's right, shouts Uncle Mitch. And all she ever does is sit around all day reading trashy novels. And look at her clothes, cries Auntie Mabel. I have never seen such terrible taste. That's nothing, screeches Grandma Muggins. You should see the makeup she paints all over her face. That's all true, replies Melvin calmly. But she has one big advantage over all of us. Really. Everyone cries. What is that? Well, explains Melvin, she has no family. Be silent. Close your eyes and feel your bodies to be completely frozen. This is the right moment to enter in. With a deep urgency, gather all your energies and consciousness and rush towards your inner center of being, which is just 2 inches below the navel inside you. Faster and faster, deeper and deeper. As you are coming closer to the center, a great silence descends over you. A peace that passeth understanding. And inside, at the center, you encounter your very self, your very Buddha, for the first time. It is only a presence, a light, a flame. This flame is rooted in the eternal fire of existence. You have been here always, and you will be here always. Only forms change. But the existential truth remains without any change. It is your ultimate being. In this ultimateness, you are no more there. But the whole is. The dewdrop has disappeared in the ocean, or the ocean has disappeared in the dewdrop. This is one of the greatest moments to become a witness that you are not the body, witness that you are not the mind, witness that you are only a pure witnessing consciousness. Deeper this consciousness goes, closer you are coming to your ultimate nature, the Buddha. Relax into witnessing, Nivedanu. Just a silent witness, and all boundaries disappear. And suddenly, Gautam the Buddha auditorium becomes an ocean of consciousness. 10,000 Buddhas are no more there, but a single pure fire of awareness. This is your very nature. Zen is not a religion. It is a manifesto of your very nature. It is a freedom from all social structures. It is a freedom even from yourself. It is pure freedom. In this freedom, all that is creative arises. All that is beautiful blossoms. All that is significant a grace that you have never been aware surrounds you. An aura of light follows. Collect all these experiences before Nivedana calls you back. You are not to become anyone. You have just to dissolve into the totality of existence. In this annihilation, you reach to the highest peak of consciousness. In that peak, there is light, and there is joy, and there is song, and there is dance, but there is no I at all. Persuade the Buddha, the flame, to come behind you. It has been hiding inside your being since eternity. You have never explored the inner space. Otherwise, there is no need of any religion and no need of any temple. This very body becomes the temple, and this very consciousness becomes the Buddha. These are the three small steps. First, request the Buddha, the internal and the eternal flame, to follow you, to become part of your ordinary day-to-day life. In the second step, you start becoming a shadow to the Buddha. He takes over you. You start disappearing. In the third step, even your shadow is no more there. Only a pure presence of the Buddha. This is not an achievement. You are already it. You have forgotten the language. The Zen Manifesto is simply to remind you The last words of Gautam Buddha were Samma Sati. Remember. In a single word, everything significant is contained. Samma Sati. Nivedana, come back, but come back as Buddhas, peaceful, silent, relaxed. Just for a few seconds sit down with closed eyes to remember to make a note where you have been, to what depth you have been able to reach, what is the taste of silence, peace, what is the taste of disappearing into the ultimate? The last words of Gautam Buddha contain the Zen Manifesto. Samma Sati. Remember what is your inner space. Just remember. There is nothing to achieve and there is nothing to become. You are already that which you have been seeking in all your lives, in different ways, on different paths. But you have never looked inwards. Look in. And whenever you have time, you know the path. Just go again and again to the inner space so that your fear of disappearing is dropped. You start enjoying being nobody and you start remembering the forgotten language. Samma Sati.